And what if the main gas giant of the solar system, Jupiter, got sick? Think for yourself. You discovered a strange red spot the size of a tennis ball on your body. How she appeared is unclear, and the doctors just shrug their shoulders. Even on the internet, no one can tell which one it is. Meanwhile, the spot grows and shrinks, and at the same time it peels off. So what's going on? Is this infection getting ready to bite, or is it slowly killing you? Of course, Jupiter can't literally die from a great red spot. But this may indicate irreversible changes, the essence of which we do not understand. After all, the most visible feature of the largest planet of the solar system remains a great mystery for physics and astronomy. In this video, you will learn how many red spots on Jupiter really are, how deep this giant abscess is on the body of the planet. And finally, why does the mysterious red spot not disappear? To determine the correct diagnosis, it is important to establish the exact date of the onset of the disease. So when exactly did the big red spot appear? This sketch was made by Italian astronomer Giovanni Cassini in 1665. This spot doesn't seem too big and just dark. But in the painting of the Italian Donato Credi, it is already in color. The uninformed public saw in it a strange sea or the top of Volotensky volcano. However, astronomers immediately realized that this was the vent of a giant storm. But wait, why is the spot in the old paintings and sketches located in Jupiter's northern hemisphere instead of the southern one? Storms cannot cross the equator on any planet. This misalignment has led some scientists of the past to believe that the current Great Red Spot is the second in the last 400 years. And as bad as the first one appeared, we simply missed it due to gaps in observations lasting many tens of years. But the solution turned out to be much simpler. Old telescopes showed an inverted picture due to the features of the opters. It has not occurred to anyone to correct it yet. Even at the end of the 19th century, a large red spot was depicted as if in the north. So we are dealing with the same formation on the gaseous body of Jupiter. And it appeared no later than the middle of the 17th century. This makes the Great Red Spot at least 100 years older than the US. The first high-quality photo shoot was arranged by Voyager probes at the end of 1970s. Astronomers had noticed by that time that the spot was slowly, but surely moving along the surface of Jupiter, which befits any superstorm on Earth. But this analogy did not add clarity at all. Doctors always compare a new disease with already known ones. Why is the Great Red Spot so unlike other superstorms? This terrestrial Hurricane Irma in 2017 looks very much like a Great Red Spot from space. They both twist in the same way counterclockwise. But the oldest hurricane on Earth is almost twice as weak as the winds of the Great Red Spot. They reach speeds of up to 650 kilometers per hour. Inside the hydrogen vomit, ammonia and sulfur compounds can fit 1.5 of the Earth together with all the hurricanes. But the most significant difference lies in the nature of the Jupiter storm. A typical tropical hurricane that hits Florida or Mississippi is a cyclone, that is, a cyclone with a central area of high pressure. And the big red spot is an anticyclone where the pressure inside is increased. On Earth, it would be a powerful winter storm with heavy snowfall. In fact, in infrared images, the large red spot is clearly colder than Jupiter's surrounding atmosphere. This is only the first best winter anticyclone on Earth for a few days. They are thousands of years in a row. Scientists believe that on a gas giant it is possible due to the lack of a solid surface. After all, winter storms are supposed to crash on land in the end. The Great Dark Spot on Neptune lived for only 5 years. And on Saturn a large white spot appears every 30 years. only to eventually dissolve without a trace. So even the nature of the gas giants does not explain why the Great Red Spot on Jupiter grew so much and did not disappear. To understand what is happening with this huge formation on the body of Jupiter, we will have to take a closer look at it. The doctor would invite the patient into the office, and we would look at the spot from aboard the scientific orbital station. What are the external deviations of a large red spot falling into the eye? You won't believe it, but for hundreds of years of observation, scientists have never understood why she is so beautiful. It would seem that this storm consists of exactly the same gases as the light brown clouds of Jupiter. However, maybe up close we would be able to see that the red spot is something like a skin on a wound. Chemists think so. According to their version, a giant vortex lifts organic compounds from the depths of Jupiter into the upper atmosphere, which otherwise would not have ended up there. And under the influence of solar ultraviolet, substances called tholins with a characteristic dark red shade are formed from them. This is how they paint the plains of Pluto. However, even the tholins do not explain why the big red spot sometimes turns pale. And this is not her only inexplicable transformation. In the old pictures, the big red spot is so huge that it would fit 3 lands in a row at once. And this is no exaggeration. For 30 years now, we have been observing with the Gabu telescope how the oval Great Red Spot gradually shrinks and becomes rounder. And at the same time it peels off. Fragments the size of North and South America combined are repeatedly dislodged from the vortex. This has led some scientists to assume that the big red spot on Jupiter's body will be destroyed in another 12 years. On the contrary, the wind speed along its edges is increasing. Not at all like a fading storm, and to try to understand what drives her, let's dive into her heart. What devastations can be hidden under the big red spot? To launch a probe from its orbital station, we'll have to fly directly over the big red spot. And even hundreds of kilometers above it, we will feel the shock. This gravitational anomaly was detected by the Juno apparatus in 2017. During the flight over the spot, its radio signal became distorted, as if the device had fallen into a huge gravity hole. This means that a huge mass is concentrated under the surface of the Great Red Spot. It's as if another planet is hiding in the center of Jupiter's biggest storm. But what is it really? During immersion in the red spot, the thermometer column on our probe will also turn red. The temperature will jump from a record cold -172 degrees for Jupiter to a hellish 226 degrees at a depth of 220 kilometers. It's almost like the difference between liquid nitrogen and molten lead. Previously, it was believed that the base of the storm was somewhere here, shallowly below the surface. However, the UNO microwave study did not show that the big red spot bites into the gas giant's mantle at least 500 kilometers away, where the temperature should be even higher. Some scientists, based on Juno's data, concluded that this is not the limit either. Maybe if we launched a well-shielded probe into the Great Red Spot, then giving rise to its currents, they would appear at a depth of up to 3,000 kilometers. Therefore, the Great Red Spot is a huge heated atmospheric engine, which for some reason does not lose its energy over the centuries. In other words, Jupiter's body is not just an abscess, but a tumor that touches many tissues and feeds on their juices. So what can our gas patient expect in the future? Even with our best models, this is still a medical mystery of cosmic proportions. But we did get one intriguing clue. At the end of the 90s, another similar formation emerged from several smaller vortices in the atmosphere of Jupiter. At NASA, it was dubbed the Junior Red Spot, and since then its development has been closely monitored. Who knows, maybe when the big red tumor on the planet's body is gone, this one will take its place. Or will all of Jupiter eventually become covered with spots? Well, in the next decade, we will follow the history of this mysterious cosmic disease as a group.